the creative process part 4. So I don't really know exactly what I'm going to talk about, but I do. So you know me. Anyways, but as I'm working on this project, I've had a couple different ideas, and um, what I came to find and kind of became aware about, right? And I did this just because I came aware about it because there's a YouTuber I really like that I think you guys should check out. He's kind of like I don't know if he's like a professor. He likes to read books. He's into philosophy and shit like that, and he makes good videos. Jared Henderson. I like his videos a lot. So I was watching his latest video. I don't know if it's latest. He might have posted, but one of his latest videos, just about how he feels the need with the internet and making videos that living in that attention economy, he feels the need to say something important all the time. Say something important, interesting, controversial. Those aren't his direct words, but you get the gist. If I'm speaking about this generally, then yeah. And I thought that was a really interesting concept, and I think that is where you kind of get paralyzed with your work, whatever you just want to make. If you just want to fucking make something, you should just make it. And yeah, I think that kind of there's like a fine line between artistic motivation and outcomes and doing it for other people in order to receive monetary gain or career, whatever the fuck. You get what I'm saying. We all know about it, the artist and creating their art, and they gotta pay the bills and the whatever. But you know, I think that while I'm working on this project, something I want to do is like I want to really build this like artistic portfolio. That's always been like a huge goal of mine, to build like a dope artistic portfolio. Not cool, not make it dope because it's you know like it's famous for the work itself, but just make it dope because it's like a life work for me. I think it'd just be so dope. But yeah, I guess I'm really making this project for another reason, and that is to inspire people to still create and not think about necessarily what like views and how many people are going to watch it, to push yourself to your limits creatively because it's fun, it's enjoyable. And I guess that also goes into my other point, because my main point is about attention and how you shouldn't really focus on attention and you should just create because it's fun and whatever. The biggest thing that I've come to find out with creating, and one of the things that, well, I'll speak on a couple of things, is it is a puzzle, and that's what I think keeps me going, and I think that's what keeps a lot of people going when they want to create something. It's a puzzle. You're figuring it out. That's the whole thing, is figuring it out. That's what drives you. Coming up with a new idea. It's a puzzle, and you're trying to piece together things. It's not about creating something that's original. Everything's already been said. Everything's already been done. But it's about taking what's there and connecting it and putting it into a pattern. And I think that's really cool. And that's what I think has really helped me when I started to view it like that. It's a puzzle. My other thing that I come to find it motivates me for my creativity is, I would say, it's 2 words, the start of a sentence, and it goes like, I wish. That is what I think, that's the urge to create, I guess. But I guess for me, yeah, I always kind of think about like, what do I wish? Like, what do I like daydream about and kind of doze off to and have dreams about the world that I want to live in, the person I want to be. What pisses me off? What do I wish? What do I wish? And I want everybody like that's watching this, like, think about it. Take a second, pause the video, and just ask yourself, like, what do I wish? And then go from there, because there's so many things about myself that I wish, and that's kind of it. There's so many different possibilities, and this puzzle is like, I don't know. I want to create a cool body of work. I'm just lazy too, but yeah, this is just kind of some things going back to what Jared Henderson was saying about having to make something important, I think about it when I'm creating and writing, and I think about it. It's like my life is not interesting. I've had a really easy life. Why? I actually uploaded a video about this months ago. Honestly, at this point, about how it's a little like, isn't it a little bit narcissistic and self-centered to think that your feelings are special enough to put into a piece of work, which is creating. And I'm kind of looking back on that, and I think it's kind of narcissistic. Okay, maybe not narcissistic, but I think it's a little bit self-involved to think that your feelings aren't. To think that your creative value, to think that your creativity and your artistic output has to be valued, therefore being humble about it and having humility. My shit doesn't have to be valued, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about now. Is like, this shouldn't be valued. It shouldn't. If I was in my head about it a couple months ago, and what I would say to myself a couple months ago is I would probably say is that, like, it's naive for you to assume that this has to be something that other people have to value and the world has to value, therefore making it have to be special, And yeah, it's this is just like a puzzle. It's like a little kid again. Like, who gives a fuck about who I am and all this shit. And I think that kind of leads me to another point, is that I guess sometimes I do create and think about myself not necessarily in comparison, but yeah, in comparison to like other people. Who I am compared to other people, what makes me different, which is something that's like kind of good and bad, but I don't want to necessarily look at myself as just like an entity or a being in the world. I just kind of want to, I mean, I do, but I'm saying like being amongst other people. Like, how do I fit in? What's my role with other people? I don't really want to do that. I kind of just want to tell a really cool story. For this project, I think existentialism is going to be a big part of it, just because I'm young, and that's a huge part of life itself, no matter what age you're at. But I think it takes on an interesting role while you're young. And yeah, I really like a style that's portrayed by The Weeknd in 106 Point Never. That music, and you see it in Dawn FM, you see it in After Hours, is like, those synths are super existential. And I watched a movie recently that I think is probably a top 5 movie I think I've ever seen, and I've been looking into the directors as well. Uncut Gems and the Safdie brothers. The one brother obviously just released Marty Supreme, which I haven't seen, but I guess I'll check that out. But I was looking at analysis of that film, and it's super interesting because the Safdie brothers, they like to break a lot of the rules when it comes to film, and I think that's really interesting. But what I really liked about it was I loved the coloring. I love the music that was used, and I think that I think it's a perfect film, in my opinion. I really, really, really liked it, not just because of the story, and yeah, the story. Everything I've watched about that movie, I've seen everybody's just said it's one giant anxiety attack, and yeah, it's true. It's everyone's saying that, and it really is the best way to put it. But I think that movie does so many other good things, so many other things very well, like the cinematography, the use of music, the visual effects. There's so many things besides just the storyline that keeps you invested in the movie with the betting and everything, that it just does so well. And I think that I would like to use I'm going to steal that style to put in part of my project. But now that that's kind of out of the way, I want to speak about something that just came to my head as I'm talking, and I feel as if I am actually being able to speak to a camera better. And that's kind of interesting, but it's kind of interesting to say, like, out of the blue. But I think if you look at my videos where I'm using photo booth on the webcam, and I'm speaking to the camera. I don't think I'm speaking as eloquently, and I don't think I have as much direction when I'm talking. I think that it's like making this honestly. Like I've noticed, like I've been able to speak better to the camera. So yeah, that's it.